Welcome to Jalen and Jacoby. In for Jalen Rose, we have Richard Jefferson.
So good to be here.
Very quickly, is it true that you don't like being called RJ?
Is it true?
I call you RJ all the time.
No. This is the thing. No one. I've never introduced myself as RJ. No one in my family or friends call me RJ.
Oh, and it's probably just that gigantic weird tattoo you have on your shoulder that says RJ. That might have something to do with it.
Agreed. I've told the story a million times, and I just get tired of correcting people. It doesn't bother me.
I will call you Richard.
That's fine.
Or Dickie.
So much, yeah.
Crazy game last night in Houston. Kawhi and the Clippers, still without Paul George, faced the Rockets and James Harden. And James Harden was masterful once again. 47 points, 17 in the fourth quarter. Richard, so many are critical. So many are critical of his style of play and the Rockets' style of play, yet they keep winning games. How many wins will it take before people start realizing that this works?
Well, it depends. You go back to the Suns, right? When Steve Nash won his multiple MVPs, and there was there was a couple of times where I felt like they had a chance to win the title, but ultimately the defensive juggernauts slowed them down. That's why Steve Nash had never been to a finals, right? He was a great scorer. They had tons of weapons. There is a similar coach there, and if you look at it, so yes, this does produce points. It is fun to watch, but it's very similar to shooters winning an NBA championship. That's why Charles Barkley famously said a shooting team, a three-point shooting team has never won a championship. Where the game has changed, the game has evolved. Golden State proved that fact wrong, and I think Houston, in order to prove that D'Antoni's system, and we're just going to try and outscore you, can win a championship.
So I was watching this game last night with some friends, and James Harden is just doing things I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Like the sidestep backs and then getting to the lane and everything he does. And
deep three with ease.
We've seen teams try to double him, and they did last night, and he would break it. They've seen teams shade him to the left, seen teams let him drive the lane. Like, what is the best defensive tactic to try to slow down this warlock of the basketball court?
I don't know if there is one. I want to say like he is.
Is that doubles right now?
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. Especially with the way the rules are, so you can be a lot less physical, and he is a master at drawing fouls.
That's a good point.
Left-handed, so he's got a little bit of an awkwardness to him that players aren't used to seeing. You're afraid of fouling him on a three-point shot. This is similar to when Kobe Bryant was going through that stretch where he was just scoring everything at any 81s and 40 points and 15 straight games, like that type of stuff. I don't think there is a way to guard him, right? But I do believe that when the game does slow down, when the game does change in the postseason later in the year, that's where you've seen those struggles. And it's just like any great player, until you do it on the biggest stages. And they've been to the postseason. They've been to a conference.
You don't have to win the championship to be a success.
That's not true. That's not true. And I mean it from a standpoint of like, I'm not comparing myself. What I'm saying is like, we're comparing him to the all-time greats. We're comparing him to the Michael Jordans, to the Kobe Bryants, to the LeBron James. Those are the people he's in the same conversation with. He's up there with Wilt Chamberlain numbers.
Yes, he's earned it with his performance.
Yes, so ultimately, once you get to that stratosphere, the next thing we need to see is it generate championships. And I think that's what his goal is, but that's where I think some of the critique comes in.
Well, there was some more critiques being thrown around last night because Pat Beverly, famously an agitator, known as a great defender, is wildly accepted as a great defender, except for a gentleman named Russell Westbrook who disagrees. Let's listen to Russ.
Pat Bev trick y'all, man. Like, he playing defense. He don't guard nobody, man. Just running around doing nothing. It's not. As you've seen, what happened, 47. All that commotion to get 47.
Pat Bev tricked us. Pat Bev tricked us into believing he's a good defender. All he does is run around. It is worth noting, while James Harden did have 47, he was 0 for 6 against Pat Beverly. So, is Pat Beverly just running around? Did he trick us? Or is he legitimately one of the best defenders in the league?
I'm going to say both.
I'm going to say both. Oh, hot take.
I'm going to say both. I'm going to say both. And this is why. A lot of the agitation is just to get you out of your game. So that's not really defense, right? Like, he's not this great perimeter defender. But when he's locked in, when he's just playing good on-ball defense, he's one of the best in this league. So it is both. He is tricking you with all the agitation and all the hype and all the loudness. And there's some Draymond Green in it, where it's like he's going to get away with saying more and doing more because he plays like that all the time. But ultimately, he is a good defender. And don't forget, there was a little bit of history with him and Russell Westbrook.
There's a lot of history between the two of them.
And the knee injury and that. Now, I'll say this. Pat Bev, I would take him on my team 10 times out of 10. Love him to death.
Of course.
The play that he did against Russell Westbrook, he didn't intend to injure him, but it was doing too much.
It was doing
too much. And the guys have like dribbled up, like, oh, I'm going to call a timeout, then go and score. And he wasn't trying to do, but it was like a little too much.
We've all seen it. Now,
it was a little too much.
There's one thing I want to say. Jalen always says about loud points. Like someone Russell Westbrook scores loud points. Kawhi Leonard scores quiet points. I think he plays loud defense.
Yes.
When he makes a defensive stop, he's clapping. He's letting everybody know. Like he wants the attention. So I see like there's a little bit of that. He kind of like makes himself seem like a better defender, but at the same time,
he is a good defender.
He's a good defender.
It's like Draymond Green. Draymond Green, when he does something, you know. But look, those things can energize your teammates. Those things can energize they can energize the fans. They can energize like everyone.
It doesn't mean he's not genuine.
No, he's
not
genuine.
doing it to trick us.
But I've seen both players, right, be loud where it was like, I don't know if that's a point as like being loud, right? Like you're just like screaming.
You got a jump ball.
So you're just screaming now.
So there was James Harden's wizardry, Pat Bev's defense, but the best moment that happened last night in Houston was this. Doc Rivers and his son Austin Rivers. See, Doc Rivers gets a tech. Austin Rivers just screaming for his own dad to get a tech.
Oh, my God.
I love it so much. This relationship is just layered upon layers upon layers. And my question for you is, what is the text exchange between the two of them after the game?
Oh, it's awesome. I kid you not. Like, these are moments that, like, I think as a dad you would be proud of, right?
Oh, yeah.
These are awesome. Like, I wish that I could be a coach and have little Richard or little Phoenix like team me out. I'd cuss them out too. Like, sit your little, you know what I'm saying? Like, just sit your. I would go hard at them too. Like, I'd get thrown out for cussing him out.
If you study the history between these two, it's just so interesting because everyone's like, oh, it's nepotism. He got this contract. His dad's the coach. But like, the two of them kind of go back and forth a lot.
There was some awkward moments there, and they caused tension in that Clipper locker room. And it's like, look, Austin Rivers can play, right? He's an NBA player. He really struggled. He really struggled early on in New Orleans, and a lot of people thought Doc bringing him in was pretty much saving his career because at that point in time he hadn't really done a great job playing, and he was kind of struggling for being a top pick. Doc brings him in. He starts to get a little bit of rhythm, starts to get confidence, and he's a player.
You know one thing I love about Austin Rivers?
What?
When he gets the ball, you can't tell him he's not Michael Jordan.
Oh,
like the confidence that he shows, jumping into two centers, bouncing off. Like, you can't tell him he's not Michael Jordan.
He will drive into a team meeting.
Yes.
By himself.
Yeah, and they complain to the refs.
There's 5 guys there? Yeah. Hey, let's go talk to them with the ball. I love it so much. This is my turn.
Well, the Lakers and Warriors were the late game. The Lakers handily beat the Warriors, and they did so without Anthony Davis. Kyle Kuzma played well. He's been playing well lately. Yeah. One thing I want to talk about the Lakers, though, is their defense.
Yeah.
They are pretty solidly number 1 in defensive efficiency in the entire league. Do you think they can keep this up?
I think they can keep up a top 5 defense, right? I think there's going to be some injuries. There's going to be some. That's just over the course of the season. I think Utah is a really good defensive team, but with the Lakers, their size, you're talking about they play. Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis together, and JaVale McGee. You're talking about 2 of the biggest guys.
Kuzma's tall, Danny Green's tall, LeBron's LeBron.
LeBron's 6'9", Kuzma's 6'8". Like, these guys are huge, and then you bring in Danny Green or Avery Bradley that are little. So it's like the way they rebound the ball, the way they get second chance points. There's a lot of things that they bring to the table that are just problems, right? And so on the defensive rebounding side, which is a big defensive component, how many offensive rebounds are you giving up? They're one of the best in the league.
Well, one of the problems they do have is the health of Anthony Davis, who after having nagging shoulder and rib problems over the last few weeks, you see him there not playing in the game.
Yeah.
So, Richard, what do you think about this nagging injury? Do you think this is something that's going to continue, or should he just sit out like 3 or 4 games to kind of get on the other side of it?
There was a big stat, like if you and I don't have the exact
Don't worry,
numbers.
we don't do exact numbers.
Okay, well, who gives a damn? Okay, well, his first 5 games, you look at the free throw numbers that he shot versus the last 5 games. Like it was like 55 free throws in the first 5 games, and then the next 4 games he had shot like 17.
When you
have
a rib problem, you're not exactly trying to bang against people.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. Those nagging injuries can affect how you play, and it's like this is not a load management where we're making this up. Just like, look at it. He's not being nearly as aggressive. His numbers might look good, but remember there was a game where he hit 20 free throws. He had like 15 and a quarter, 17 and a quarter. So I think to get him rest, to get him back to that aggressive nature, because that's what they're going to need. Yes. Ultimately, he is the one advantage that no team can match up well with Anthony Davis, right? You go against the Clippers. They got multiple bodies to throw at Bron, and they can do that all damn night, right? Yep. Different sizes, everybody. They got a lot of bodies to throw at him. Anthony Davis is the one that...
Zubac?
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be your...
Montrez is a little short for him.
Yeah, and for a lot of years, Bron was always your ace in the hole, right? He was always like, well, no one's going to be able to stop Bron. Well, they have enough bodies similar to the Warriors did when they were going on their runs. They had a lot of bodies to throw at Bron. So Anthony Davis is the one guy that you're going to want to be 100% healthy so he can be as aggressive as possible.
I'm going to say something you won't believe about the NBA.
Okay, tell me.
The Grizzlies and Hornets game was pretty good last night.
Special.
Yes, Morant continues. This isn't a fluke.
No.
Night after night, Morant
look around the back.
does his thing, and they finished too. Woo. Like Morant, not only did he score 23 and had 11 assists, it was the end of the game. Look at this. This is a game winner. Fumbles it a little bit.
With the left.
On the whole team. Around the rim, it finishes.
With the left.
I did not expect this from him. What have you seen from Morant?
Well, he played at a smaller school. You knew his athleticism was there. You knew he could drop dimes, but you want to see it against bigger, stronger, quicker, higher level guys, and he's done it. But he plays with an excitement. And I think like when you look in Memphis, that crowd, the community, they love some Ja. And so it's great to see how he's playing, the way he's playing, the way his teammates are supporting him. He's special, right? And it's like we want to see guys and we want to see people like be special. Trae Young, special.
Yes.
Right? Like you're just seeing, it's like, oh, we don't see this all the time.
I'm glad you went down this path because as a fan, as someone who really cares about the league, like there's a little bit of a letdown when Zion Williamson isn't out there.
Yeah.
You always love a new rookie.
Yeah.
And then Morant has kind of like made up for that a little bit with his play so far. Richard, we have a segment.
Tell me.
Called What's Your Number?
All right, here we go.
Let's get it. So when I get off work,
tell me.
I sometimes like to unwind with an adult beverage.
Okay.
From time to time.
What's your adult beverage of choice?
I prefer a vodka, but I also like gin.
Oh,
and there's a new gin on the market I want to talk to you about.
Are you a White Claw guy?
Only playing golf.
Okay.
There's a new gin I want to talk to you about. It is infused with elephant dung. Now, the makers of this gin are saying that elephants don't digest all the food, so the botanicals and the fruits that they eat comes through when you infuse the gin with the elephant dung. What is your number to drink a full glass of elephant dung gin?
A full glass of gin, that's just aggressive in general.
For some.
I'm not a gin person. I'm not a no judgment. I'm saying that's aggressive. A full glass of whiskey. I love whiskey. Like a full glass.
What is your number?
It's probably pretty low. It's probably give me $1,000.
Yeah, mine was 500. I'm sure they tried it before they gave it to me.
It's like,
can't be that bad.
It's alcohol.
It can't be that bad.
Alcohol kills everything.
It's not like the dung is in the gin.
I'm not saying floating pieces of corn.
It's like no rocks, just dung pieces. No. It's infused. It's been distilled or whatever they do.
It's fine.
Mine was 500. Great point. Andrew Wiggins.
Oh, he's balling.
He is. We'll discuss him after this. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Richard Jefferson in for Jalen. We're coming to you live from Pier 17 in the South Street Seaport and brought to you by delicious Heineken beer. There's something going on with the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
And do you know who's really good?
Tell me.
Andrew Wiggins, the much doubted, the much criticized Andrew Wiggins, the quote-unquote bust Andrew Wiggins has been balling this year.
Look, the kid's average, I think, 19 points a game. Like now, one of the things, and this is what we've always said, I'm a big fan of young players scoring, but I'm not a big fan of like saluting young players that score and it doesn't turn into wins. Devin Booker, right? All of those years scoring, that's impressive. I'm impressed with anybody that can score the way Devin Booker can. But now to see it translate to wins, to see like
this is what's happening with Wiggins.
And that's what's happening with Wiggins. So both of these young players, they're still young. He's only 24 years old. And to watch these guys turn that corner, and now it's like he's scoring points late in game. He's making some other plays. That is where I think we get so impatient with young players. And like, oh, he's a bust after after 2 or 3 years. And it's like, well, some of them are.
It's also like 21 after 2 or 3 years.
After 2 or 3 years. That's what I'm saying. It's like, and it's like people are like, well, is this the year that Jason Tatum makes the jump? And you're like, no, like he's going to be a far better player at 24 than he is at 22 and at 26 and then at 28. So like, even if he improves 5-6% every single year, and I think that's what Wiggins has done. But the criticism of Wiggins is not his ability to score. It's kind of his motor and his approach to the game.
Yep.
He always kind of had a I don't kind of care mentality.
My question for you is, do you think that his success is a function of the criticism? Like, do you think he hears it all and he's outside of the top 100 and he says, you know what, I'm going to prove everybody wrong?
Well, I hope so, because he's been criticized for quite a few years. Like he won Rookie of the Year, he was doing this, but we've never seen improvement. His body never changed. He doesn't look like he's gained any weight, so it's like, how hard is he working in the weight room? And again, some people have a Kevin Durant body. I don't think Wiggins necessarily does, right? Like you can change your body type. Everything that I've heard from around the organization and from people around the league is that how hard does he work? Is he the first one in the gym? Is he the last one to leave? And that was never the case with Wiggins. That was never the case. And I'll go on record to say he was the last one there and the first one to leave. And he would still go out and give you 20, but that's not going to generate wins for your team.
So you'll never believe this.
Tell me.
I didn't play in the National Basketball Association. No, not even a year. Not even the G
10
League.
Day?
No, 10 day, nothing. Didn't even get a tryout. So when we have people that have, we need them to take us behind the curtain.
Oh, here we go.
So couldn't help but notice something about Wiggins' teammate Karl Anthony Towns this season. He's playing with a little more aggression.
Yeah.
He kind of wants all the smoke. Let's just take a look at some incidents that Towns has been involved in thus far this season.
Okay.
Here they are against the Spurs, and, you know, he feels like he gets fouled there, and he does, and then Rudy Gay gets in his face, and Towns is going back and forth with Rudy Gay. Look at him, you know, doing this hold me back, let's get separated thing. And this isn't an isolated incident with Towns. Like, there was some time in Detroit where after a little dunk, you know, nice play, dunks it, and then watch the face. Watch the face afterwards, the stare and the scowl, you know? And my question for you is this, and there was obviously earlier in the year, there was a Joel Embiid incident. My question for you is this, you'll see the Embiid thing right here. Why do you think Towns is tough guy Towns this season when he wasn't previously?
I don't think, first of all, there's probably about 5 tough guys in the NBA.
That's fair to say.
5.
Maybe.
There's 5. And it's like, so maybe 5 guys, right? And especially now, because no one really fights, no one does anything. But if this is where you can channel that energy, like Kevin Garnett would famously say, all of those antics, where some of it was him, but some of it was like that's how he would get himself hyped up to play. Jason Kidd, on the other hand, would never speak unless spoken to. He would know, no matter how many people try to talk trash, try to do anything, he would never speak unless spoken to. So if this is what Karl Anthony Towns needs to do to play at a high level and to help lead his team into the postseason, as long as you don't get to a reckless space of like suspensions and like too much, I'm okay with it. Be over the top. If that's what it takes for you to go nuts and for your team to win.
Because I think some of this is residual Jimmy Butler incident. Like, I think that the Jimmy Butler sort of like said, you know, these guys are young and they're soft and they don't work hard. And I think that both Wiggins and Towns are sort of like, you know what? Like, we're going to prove that that's not the case.
Well, you should take it. You should take that to heart. Because what happened the one year that Jimmy Butler left? You guys did not make the postseason. The one
you didn't just not make the postseason.
You were awful. The one season that you guys made it is when Jimmy was there, and all of a sudden there was a bunch of problems and a bunch of beef. And look, I know that these guys are young. Karl Anthony Towns is still young. So like for both of these guys to go and make these leaps, but understand now, you've been called out. You've been called out by a person that is well respected in this league as a competitor.
Yes.
Right? Most important as a competitor. That's where he's probably the most respected. Jimmy Butler went from not playing much his rookie year to turning himself into an all-star player, into an all-NBA player, and one of the best fourth quarter players in the NBA. From a guy that didn't play his rookie year. So to see a bunch of top number 1 picks show up and not compete as hard as him, that might piss anybody off.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. So now what are you going to do about it? And I like if this is why, and you don't always want to give someone else credit for your motivation, but whatever it is, I like the way they're playing.
In the sports media news cycle, 3 weeks feels like 3 years.
Years.
Right? It has been 3 weeks since the Celtics lost a basketball game. They lost that first game against the Sixers, and they have not lost since. They are 9-1 last night, despite Bradley Beal's 44 points. Look at that.
Ooh.
They beat the Wizards. How have they been so good this year?
Well, and it's impressive, too, because Gordon Hayward just went out.
Yep.
I think Gordon Hayward was a big reason, and I think they've been doing a lot of things by committee, right? What was Tatum? 1 for 18?
Oh, yeah.
1 for 18 and still won.
Shout to him, because if I'm 1 for 16, I'm not taking another shot.
I don't think I've ever done that in my life. And not because I couldn't shoot that amount. It was just because I would just stop shooting.
Yeah,
I was
of
just
course.
like, well,
Jason
Kidd would probably just stop passing me the ball. He was just like, fella, wasn't your night.
We're done with that.
Yeah, but no, I think it's just by committee. I think they have a lot of guys on any given night, and they've had injuries to Jaylen Brown. They've had, Jason Tatum was 1 for 18. That's the key to a good team. And this is why I tell people it's hard for young players to lead good teams, because if you're going to be a great team, you have to win one night where you're not shooting the ball well. You have to win one night where the other team is hot. You have to win one night when someone's in foul trouble. You have to win with injuries. And they've been doing all of those things. They've done all of those things. And it's like, most young teams, they need everything to go right. No foul trouble. They need to shoot the ball well. They need to play good defense and not turn over the ball. Well, a great team can have 1 or 2 of those things happen on a night and still win, and that's what Boston's been doing.
I'm going to say something that everyone's kind of thinking, doesn't want to say, is like,
what?
I feel like the subtraction of Kyrie was an addition for this team. I'm just going to say it.
I think that's a little false, right? From the standpoint of this, look, they had a very good team. Kyrie, when that first year with them, Kyrie had them balling. They were cruising, and then all of a sudden, like, things started to change. And I think there's some dynamics on their team. We can't just blame one person. But yes, I think this is a better fit for them than Kyrie.
And Kemba Walker's no slouch either.
Kemba Walker is an all-NBA
keep
guard.
Terry Rozier. Exactly.
Yes, thank you.
So they are atop the East, and the team that I picked to be atop the East at the end of the regular season doesn't look like it. The 76ers. Couple games ago, they needed a last-second shot to beat the Cavs, your Cavs. And last night, they lost to the Orlando Magic. Yeah. It just hasn't been a great start. What have you been seeing from the 76ers?
I haven't been a fan of them. I have not been a fan from, not that they don't have talent, but again, Kevin Love was a shot away from them losing that game against the Cavs, right? And you've seen it. I don't think that they have a closer. They don't have great shooting, and they don't have a Jimmy Butler. They don't have a guy that they can toss the ball. And look, Joel Embiid is a special player.
Of course.
He is but they don't have that perimeter guy. Right? Every team in the last however many years has had that perimeter scorer that can go get a bucket, and they don't have that right now. I don't think they have a closer. So a lot of people pick them because of their defense and their size. I don't think that they're the best team. I think that Milwaukee will be the team that comes out of the East.
So we're going to put you on the bench for a segment.
Thank God.
You're going to come back in a little bit. Maybe. Damian Woody will be here.
Oh, Woody.
When we come back. Friday night, 8 p.m. ESPN, the Jazz go to Memphis to take on my man Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. And in the nightcap, 10:30 ESPN, the Celtics and the Warriors. Right now, you can download and subscribe to the new season of 30 for 30 podcast. The first episode is about Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and the relationship they had with their Russian team owner, a man they grew to love with a mysterious past. Listen to the 30 for 30 podcast now, wherever you listen to podcasts. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. That man there is Damian Woody, a man who has sons named what?
Jalen and Jacoby.
You were built to be on this show, man.
You were
built to be on this show.
That's right.
Thank you so much for coming through. Well, we start with what everyone is talking about, this workout with Colin Kaepernick on Saturday. Now, we know that he didn't exactly want to do it this Saturday, so the date wasn't exactly on the terms that his reps wanted. And now we've learned that the NFL will not provide a list of people that are sending teams that are sending representatives to the workout. What does all this tell you about the workout?
I think more and more time passes, the more disingenuous this whole thing seems, because you got to understand that the league basically told Colin Kaepernick in his camp on Tuesday, we have a workout schedule for you on Saturday. No, didn't work with his camp at all. Said, you're working out Saturday in Atlanta, 3 o'clock, where there's not going to be any head coaches. There's not going to be any GMs. They're all traveling, getting ready for the game. So how are teams going to really evaluate a guy like Colin Kaepernick, who hasn't played since 2016, when you're literally scheduling him on the day before everyone is playing? I think this was caused by when Colin Kaepernick's camp released that letter, like a 2-page letter, making those statements, those bulletin points about the things that the league has not done. And this was, in effect, retaliation by the NFL setting this whole thing
saying,
up.
oh, you want to work out? Here's a workout. But it's almost like telling a student that they have a test tomorrow. Like, what is he doing to prepare? Like, if I'm Colin Kaepernick, like, what is he doing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to prepare for this on Saturday?
Well, listen, from everything that I've heard, Colin Kaepernick is in great shape. But okay, who's running the workout? There's so many questions that needs to be answered. Like, usually this is like a unprecedented move by the NFL to have like a combine scheduled workout for unrestricted free agent. But we don't know a lot of the deep details that's going to go into this workout. So that's why I'm really skeptical about this whole thing.
And we've also learned that my guy, top 5 MCs alive, Jay-Z, was part of sort of brokering this to happen. What does that tell you?
Yeah, when we heard about the kind of the partnership between Jay-Z and the NFL, I always felt in the back of my mind that there was this component could come about. I just don't like how everything has been laid out because it hasn't been in the best interest of Colin Kaepernick. Again, like you pointed out, you're literally telling him, okay, you got to test tomorrow. And you can't reschedule. Yeah. Be ready. The man's been out of the league for 3 years.
Yeah, I'm sure he's in great shape. But I don't know how many footballs he's thrown around in those last 3 years.
That's correct. Are you really trying to put his best foot forward to try to really put out a good workout where everybody can see him? I don't know.
So here's a good example. Like, you're in the media now. You played professional football. I'm professionally in the media. Do you think that this workout is more about football or more about public relations?
Oh, this is about public relations. This is about the NFL controlling the narrative. Again, when Colin Kaepernick's camp put out the 2-page, bulletin points about the things that the league did, this is about the league saying, you know what? We're not going to allow you guys to control the narrative. We're going to come back and we're going to put you in a situation where it's really untenable for Colin Kaepernick, because if he declines, you say, well, see,
look at
that.
Not really about it. That's your last chance.
Right,
we gave you a chance.
We gave him a chance.
Now give you another one.
There you go. So to me, this is all about the league trying to win back this PR move.
So to put a bow on the Kaepernick conversation, do you think this will result in him being on a roster?
My gut tells me no, because at the end of the day, just from a pure business standpoint, what's the upside of from any of the teams moving forward to have Colin Kaepernick on the roster? It makes sense, but from a business perspective, I don't see a team really willing to stick their neck out and make this happen.
If you bring him in, right, I don't think the backlash now in 2019 would be the same as it was a couple years ago.
True.
And let's imagine this scenario. You bring him in, you don't play him, but you see him in practice, he learns the system, and then imagine towards the end of the season, you like what you see, and then maybe you sign him for the next year.
I will say this. I think some of these quarterbacks, like the Deshaun Watsons, the Lamar Jacksons, all these guys, have actually helped him, because these guys are running systems that actually fit the skill set of Colin Kaepernick.
And those two will match up, and we'll get to that game. But we start with this one. I heard you say that Mike Tomlin of the Steelers is the coach of the year. Explain yourself in this position.
Listen, the Pittsburgh Steelers start out 0-3. We're left for dead. Okay? Big Ben Roethlisberger out for the year. They've had all types of injury situation. They've clawed themselves back into the mix, going 5-4 by basically going old school Steelers football, playing great Steelers defense, running the football, and they're winning games that way. So how many coaches can weather that type of storm where you lose your Hall of Fame quarterback and still be in a position, I know it, albeit in the weak AFC conference, but be in a position where this team can make the playoff? This might be his finest coaching job in his tenure with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think that's true. And it just to one point, it's not just the Hall of Fame quarterback. They lost Antonio Brown from the roster last year, and Le'Veon Bell, who didn't play last year. But like the three Bs are not on the Steelers anymore, and they've won 4 in a row. They've won 4 in a row. Do you have them winning tonight against the Browns?
I do have them winning tonight against the Browns, because I trust Mike Tomlin. I've always said Mike Tomlin's like a blue chip stock. I'm always going to go with those guys, as opposed to Freddie Kitchens, who doesn't seem like he has a clue what he's doing.
You know why I want them to beat the Browns?
Why?
I'm tired of talking about the Browns. When they're 3-7, when they're 3-8, we will stop talking about them. We can treat them like a real 3-8 team. That's what I'm rooting for, because I'm done with them dominating the narrative. You teased this game earlier. The biggest game on Sunday is going to be the matchup between the two quarterbacks that you spoke about, Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson. How can the Texans beat the Ravens?
I think they gotta beat them at their own game. The Ravens, they run the ball better than anybody in the National Football League. They control time of possession.
Yeah.
I think you have to flip that. I think if you're the Houston Texans, you need to control the narrative. You need to control the clock. Make Lamar Jackson play from behind. I think that to me is what everybody wants to see.
I'm trying to think. They don't have a lot of comeback wins.
There you go. Yeah. Right. It's easy when you're playing from ahead and you're able to run the ball. But the one question that everybody wants answered is, can Lamar Jackson bring the Baltimore Ravens back, primarily throwing the ball? Mm-hmm. That's really the one question that we need answers to.
Well, you spend a lot of time in the NFL trying to stay in front of people, getting after the quarterback.
Right.
How is the approach different when you have someone like Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson back there where you don't necessarily know that they're going to be in the pocket like Tom Brady?
Well, see, I think their styles are different because listen, Lamar Jackson is just a prolific runner at the quarterback position. So everything that they're doing schematically is tailored to him. So as an offensive lineman, that would be heaven for me because I know I'm running the ball, probably more than 50% of the time. That's exactly what you want. Deshaun Watson is a totally different animal. He's not the explosive athlete that Lamar Jackson is, but the guy's like Houdini in the pocket. So I know that even if I mess up, he's going to make me right 9 times out of 10 because he's such a good athlete and he can make guys miss within the pocket that right now, he's right up there in the MVP conversation.
Well, we always say, take us behind the curtain. So take us behind the curtain. You're blocking somebody. You know that you've got an agile quarterback there. Do you do the same approach and be like, hey, man, you figure it out? You figure out where the hole is? Or do you try to kind of sometimes open up some holes for them to run?
Listen, like I just mentioned that a guy like Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson can sometimes make you right.
Yeah.
It can also be a pain in the butt because you don't know where they are.
Yes.
So you could be blocking a guy, and then all of a sudden he skirts out of the pocket. Guess what? Now I get a holding call because of just because of their athleticism.
Because you were getting pushed this way, and then all of a sudden it's that way.
Right, and then the defensive linemen try to disengage, and I'm holding them, and then you get a quick flag, as opposed to some of these traditional pocket passes where you know where they're going to be. They're not moving from that spot, so it's easier for me to protect the quarterback.
So we always keep an eye on you here at Jalen Jacoby.
Okay.
We know where you were last night.
Yeah.
We know where you were last night.
I'm a man of the people.
So you are now a converted hockey fan. Tell us about your experience with the Islanders.
Oh man, first of all, it started off with a tweet. A tweet started up because I basically trashed the New York sports scene, saying basically we got 2 of everything.
Oh, you shouldn't be rewarded for that. You should not be rewarded for that.
But listen,
you got the T-shirt gun going?
Oh, I got it all, man. But listen, the hockey game last night was fire. Okay, it's one thing to watch it on TV, but to be at it live and seeing how these dudes are wrecking each other against the glass and everything, and how graceful they are on the ice. I'm a fan. And because I'm a fan, I'm official too.
Oh.
I got a big boy.
What size they give you? What size they give you?
Oh, this is 4X, baby.
They must have emailed him. They didn't want to be disrespectful. They're like, Mr. Woody, what size would you like?
Wait, no, they didn't even ask. I just put it out there. I'm like, listen, I'm an 18-wheeler. I need a big boy. I need a big boy sweater.
Oh, man. Well, there's nothing like a live hockey game. I'm not going to watch too much hockey on TV, but if you haven't been to a live hockey game, you don't have to be a hockey fan. The environment alone is so much fun.
Yeah, man, it moves fast. And I think, for a guy like me who has a short attention span, just watching those guys just go up and down the ice is really cool. The next thing for me is I want to see playoff hockey live because it looks amazing on TV. I can only imagine what it looks like live.
Damian Woody, it is time for some news that matters.
Let's go.
There's been an innovation in the world of food.
Oh, now you're speaking my language now.
I got 2 words for you.
Okay.
Something that will be on grocery store shelves.
Okay.
2 words. Twinkie cereal. Are you in on Twinkie cereal?
No, I'm hating that.
Oh, I like it.
No, Twinkie. What do you mean? Like cereal that tastes like Twinkies. No, I'm not.
You know what? Can I say something that might be an unpopular opinion?
What's that?
Twinkies are overrated. Twinkies are overrated. They just don't have much to them. It's like vanilla cake and like some cream.
I haven't eaten Twinkies in a long time. I'm more of like a oatmeal cream pie type of guy.
Oh yeah.
I'll smash a whole box of that.
Whole box? I think I'll smash one of those.
No, because them things like small, man. Like I need a whole box of that.
When we come back, Richard Jefferson returns, and me, him, and Method Man will keep moving. Thanks so much for coming through, Jamie. Welcome back anytime. Welcome back to Jalen Jacoby, Richard Jefferson. We're going to hand the controls of the show over to you.
Oh, here we go.
You can decide whether or not we discuss a topic because we have a segment called Keep It Moving. If you want to discuss the topic, you say hit the brakes. If not, you say keep it moving. Are you ready, Mr. Jefferson? Steve Kerr said something about LeBron James that might surprise you. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Steve Kerr said that LeBron is the best athlete to ever walk the planet. Do you agree with Mr. Kerr?
Well, this is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yes, from this standpoint, I think basketball players are the best athletes on the planet. Start there.
Okay, no bias. Objective opinion.
Objective opinion. I think they're the best athletes on the planet. Mm-hmm. And I think, look, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, like best basketball player, but as an athlete, like LeBron is physically stronger than all of those guys. So I think Steve Kerr has a little bit of validation. Mind you, this guy also played with Michael Jordan. So all you Bron people that hate on him, like, oh, Richard, you're just saying that because he won you a chip. That ain't it.
Oh, no, you're just saying that because he won you a chip.
Moving on. Pretty much saying that.
The Blazers are in trouble. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
They lost last night to the Raptors, and Dame had 9 points. This isn't good. They've lost 6 of 7, and their one win came in overtime. What's going on with the Trailblazers?
I don't know, because you can point at, they don't have Nurkic yet, but they don't have a hole in the middle. They got Whiteside that's blocking shots, rebounding, doing some things in there. You know what? Maybe it's a hangover from last year. It's hard to play all the way till June and then show back up and with that same type of fire. So maybe this is a little bit of a hangover.
That 4-8 is going to turn into like 10-10 before you know.
I think if they have proven long term that they're going to figure it out.
John Wall did something unexpected. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Well, let's hit the brakes.
John Wall dunked in pregame while they were playing the Celtics. He obviously is injured. Does this give some indication that he might be back soon?
I think it means he could be back before the end of the season. I don't know how that works. I don't know what is going on. But if you're doing this, I'll say this. I saw Kevin Durant, he's walking around. Kevin Durant ain't doing this yet.
No.
Right? So
he shoots threes without jumping.
Yeah, he shoots threes without jumping. So if John Wall's able to do this, maybe first of the year, maybe All-Star break.
We have a Tua update. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Let's keep this moving.
We'll keep it moving.
Let's keep it moving. Keep it moving.
The Cy Young Awards have been announced. Ooh. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Oh, hell nah. Keep it moving.
Oh, wow. Wow. You didn't have to go there. Yeah. Vivica A. Fox is not happy. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes. What's up,
Vivica A. Fox?
What's up, Vivica?
Said this about the Set It Off remake. It's a classic. Leave it alone. How do you feel about the remakes in Hollywood?
I think some of them are okay, but a lot of times they fall short, right? Anchorman
2, what happened there?
Yeah.
What happened there?
Zoolander 2.
We could do a whole documentary about what happened to Anchorman 2.
Zoolander 2. Like Zoolander and Anchor. These aren't Set It Off. I'm just going off comedy. Dumb and Dumber, second Dumb and Dumbers.
Yeah, those are sequels, not necessarily remakes, but
But the same thing. It's sequels,
it's all the same. Remixes,
what are we doing? Leave it alone.
There's an update on the status of James Wiseman, and I'm not happy about it.
Tell me.
I'll tell you. Thank you for watching Jalen Jacoby on television, but the experience does not stop there. Make sure you subscribe and download our podcast. We always have exclusive content for the podcast, and follow us on social media. Welcome back to Jalen Jacoby. Richard Jefferson, we have some new information about James Wiseman. He's been in the news all week long. He played this week, even after the NCAA said he was ineligible. But there was a court order saying he could play until the hearing. But the new information is Memphis, the university, has declared him ineligible for competition. He will still practice with the team, but they will wait until the hearing to declare whether or not he will play.
Yeah.
interesting. This seems like Memphis decided, you know what? We don't care what the NCAA has to say. We're going to play them. But that changed between the last game and now.
Well, there could be more information, so we don't want to speculate. I think the craziest thing here is the NCAA is like, no, you cannot make us money, right? You cannot make us money. No, you can't. You can't even go make money for yourself, but you cannot make us money. So I think that, again, there's been so much said about this with the information that's probably come to Memphis, and they see that those games could be affected, and there's other things going on there. So
they've dealt with sanctions in the past.
This is not. We know how this goes.
We've been down this road before.
We had Coach Calipari here.
Yes.
We had Coach Calipari.
We're no stranger to the sanctions. I mean, I'd also say is, regardless of what the court order says or the hearing says or what the end result of this is, who really loses is us, the basketball fans. I want to watch James Wiseman play basketball.
We're not going to lose because he's going to be playing in the NBA.
Yes,
so we just have to wait a little bit longer to watch him play. That's kind of the humor in this, is that the NCAA, and I get it, they have their rules. Rules are rules, and they have their rules. And if he did something inappropriate, then he just has to wait a little bit longer, maybe 4 more months before he's a millionaire. One of the things that bothers me about this whole thing is this is all ties back to Anthony Hardaway giving the school $1 million in 2008. That's where this all started. Because he was a booster. That turned him into a booster. Essentially. Yeah. Shouldn't give schools $1 million, I guess. I guess that's what we learned from this. I made that mistake. I made that mistake years
Arizona,
ago.
You got like a weight room in Arizona with your name on it?
I got a gym.
Okay, Russell Westbrook on the Rockets. He's well known for not just his basketball play, but what he wears. Let's just check a look at him coming in what do you think about that outfit?
Look, it's Russell Westbrook. This is what he is known for. He's a selfie king. He's a great photographer.
That sweater looks like a Finnish grandma knit it for him.
If I were to wear that, I would get murdered by everyone. They would be killing me cracking jokes.
If you were to wear that,
yes.
Do you think you could pull that off?
No, but Russell can pull off anything. He could literally pull off anything, and he's tried to pull off anything.
Also, those pants cost $1,000.
He makes $40 million. We don't talk about how much Bill Gates' glasses cost, do we?
So I was wondering if I could pull off that outfit.
No, you didn't.
Let's just see what it would look like if you were wearing that outfit. Let's just take a look. I mean,
actually,
that's not bad.
That's not bad.
You can kind of pull it out.
Yeah,
you know what? What's really helping you is the people you're with.
Yeah. That would be the only place that I would wear this. If we went to a fashion show, then I'd pull off something a little outstanding.
Have you ever spent $1,000 on pants?
No. I'm.
What's the most expensive clothing item that you've ever bought?
Oh, a couple grand. A couple
grand?
Yeah,
like a nice suit, a coat?
I've spent
My wife tried to convince me to buy a $1,000 winter coat, and I was like, no way.
I think I had a Ralph Lauren suit that was probably about $6,000.
Thank you so much for coming through, Richard Jefferson.
My pleasure.
Damian Woody, want to thank him for stopping by earlier. We'll be back tomorrow with a new special co-host.
And it ain't me.
Thank God it's not you.
I know, right? That's what all the fans are saying.
Get out of here.
Never
Go.
liked you guys
Leave.
anyways. Any of you.